So this place is awesome. Tell me
Excellent.
a little bit more about what you're. So this is the Hoppy Pills, more not like an IPA exactly, but
Yeah, so the hoppy pills, I mean, maybe slightly a misnomer. I mean, we say hoppy, but it's hoppy for a German-style Pilsner. And the German-style Pilsners are the hoppy-ist styles of Pilsner. So, like, much more hoppy than, like, a Bohemian Pilsner, perhaps, or, all the other, American-style Pilsner, pre-Prohibition Pilsner, whatnot, and so forth. But this is we're trying to brew a crisp, clean beer that has a nice malt backbone, but that's fairly subtle, that takes a back seat to the crisp hop character.
Yep, I would definitely say that's like one of the...
It's the backbone of a lot of beers, but it just helps fill
it makes
in,
sense, yeah, super crisp and clean. Cool, well, that's amazing, and we have a lot more. Obviously, you have a ton of knowledge to share with us, but...
I can pretend.
Let's start the show. So, we've been doing this for going on 7 episodes now, and one of the most beautiful things about the Hop and the Bean journey has been discovering so much diversity. Brew pubs and coffee shops, the other part of the Hop and the Bean glass of beer, transcends our differences. So from the city life of downtown Akron last week to the open fields of a farm in central Ohio, we find ourselves at the Woolly Pig Farm Brewery located in Fresno, Ohio. Fresno is a census-designated place in eastern White Eyes Township of Coshocton County between West Lafayette and Baltic, Ohio. Thank you, Wikipedia. So thanks for having us, or for having the Hop and the Bean down here on the farm and joining us today.
Well, it's our pleasure to have you down here.
Yeah, it's super awesome. And so when I first found out about you guys a few months ago, I thought about 2 things immediately. I said, what the heck is a woolly pig? And secondly, I need to go there. And so we started doing I thought, man, that'd be a perfect spot for a show, and I will satisfy my own curiosity. So
sure, yeah. Well, that's what we hope.
Yeah.
So I guess to answer your question, a woolly pig, in this case, we're referencing a particular breed that is the Mangalitsa, which is originated in Austria-Hungary, so kind of Central Europe, Central Eastern Europe, and was at one time a very common hog breed throughout Central Europe, Eastern Europe, and even up into the former USSR.
Sure.
And then it was displaced by a lot of commercial hog breeding operations and whatnot. They just a lot of hogs that grew faster and bigger and whatnot. But these they're called, we call them woolly pigs because they especially in wintertime have very shaggy woolly coats. People mistake them for sheep pretty regularly, which is pretty cool. It's good. And then but the thing about them is they're kind of the Kobe beef of pork.
Oh,
interesting. So they take a long time to grow. So we're talking 14 to 24 months to be fully mature. Before you would butcher them, and we don't need to get into that if that's not part of our. But from there, they're that's their thing, is they're pasture raised. So we have a couple different pastures here that we rotate them through. We have we
drove up. We saw them out there. Yeah.
And then another sort of 8-acre, and then another 20-acre, and then we've got a smaller pen that's about a half-acre that we keep the boar and some of the youngest hogs in. Yeah,
we were driving up. We saw. I was like, man, they have these big open areas. That's so awesome.
I mean, our farm's not the biggest, but it's a 90-acre farm.
Okay,
it's pretty good size.
Absolutely.
And what's unique about Coshocton County, where we're at, so we're in the Appalachian foothills. We're considered Appalachia, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But there's the same number of farms here now as there were in the late 1800s, and they're all about 100. The average farm size is about 160 acres in size. Which is kind of cool. There hasn't been this agglomeration of all these small farms to make fewer giant farms. It's still this kind of medium-sized farming destination. It's kind of unique as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So maybe let's back up a little bit. As I discovered you guys, and I read a little bit about your history, which is seems pretty rich and pretty interesting to me, which only gained my interest of wanting to come here more. So I mean, there's like from Bavaria, I think, is part of the story, to this farm's history itself, and to how you operate. They all play parts of the story and the role of what's known as the Woolly Pig Farm Brewery that we sit in today. So maybe start from the beginning for you as a brewer, and then tell us how you ended up as planting the Woolly Pig Farm Brewery.
Sure.
If that's not too advantageous.
Yeah, no. I think I'll take a jab at it.
Okay.
So I started studying biochemistry and brewing science at the University of California, Davis.
Okay.
I started school there in 1994, focusing primarily on biochemistry, realizing that I could study. I was also studying nutritional biochemistry, which I did a little bit of work with, but focused primarily on brewing science. And so I was excited to realize I could study brewing science.
You're like, wait a minute, I can study beer?
Yeah, and it was crazy. It was at the time my professor was in brewing science was Michael J. Lewis.
Nice.
And he's he's been retired now for almost over perhaps 20 years now.
Okay.
But I studied my malting and brewing science, took my core malting and brewing science courses there, as well as a lot of food science and technology and food processing engineering, and just fundamentals of brewing there. Bill and Dave Thibodeau and Matty V, and it was a very small crew then, and Ska is a pretty good-sized brewery now in Durango, and it's fun to run into those folks, kind of in the homeland when I visit, the Great American Beer Festival and whatnot, and I go there most years to judge, and so I see a lot of folks there that are kind of from that era.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Nice.
But so from there I went on, and I brewed, ended up settling in Salt Lake City in 2000, and I brewed at small breweries and some bigger breweries, and I actually briefly went 6 months back to Northern California and brewed for Pyramid Brewing, if anyone remembers Pyramid.
Okay, sounds familiar,
The apricot wheat beer was one of their... Yeah.
Yep.
And their Hefeweizen. Anyhow, and then from there moved on and moved back to Salt Lake almost immediately because I missed the snow and the mountains. And,
nice.
And from there continued on brewing, and I became eventually the brewmaster at Uinta Brewing Company in early 2007.
Yeah, which one? I know. What does it say it again?
So it's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A.
And they do the
it's
hop
kind of
mash,
like
right?
our Uinta beer, sort of. It's easy to remember how to say it.
Okay.
Yes, Hop Nosh is their flagship IPA, their flagship beer, which was not the case when I was there. Our flagship beer, which is the flagship beer in Salt Lake City and throughout Utah, is Cutthroat Pale Ale, and it's a standard kind of English style ordinary upon, and then we ended up being able to contract more and more and more of it because we did it really early on. So Uinta was able to luckily have a big handhold on Galaxy hops, which is a juicy part of a lot of great IPAs these days.
It's all I always see it in IPAs.
Yeah. And so and then after being there the brewmaster for about a decade, I ended up moving on to these greener pastures, I guess you could say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so this is where my wife grew up, actually. I grew up out west. I was born in Utah, grew up in Colorado, California, and Oregon. My family on my side is all from Oregon. We're going to go visit them in a week.
Awesome.
Actually on Tuesday.
Oh, awesome.
But we came here because my wife's side of the family is very deeply rooted here, and they have great connections in the community, and it's a great tight-knit small community, and it's a great place. And this transitions into your question about sort of why the Woolly Pig, right?
Yes.
And so this gets us towards where I used to. For Uinta, I was traveling in Bavaria often to go to expositions in Nuremberg and visit breweries in Bamberg and surrounding throughout Franconia, Oberfranken, and did some bike tours. One of them, I was doing a bike tour with the owner of Uinta Brewing, Will Hamill.
Okay.
And we rode through this area called the Fränkische Schweiz, which means the Franconian Switzerland. And so just north of here, you have Holmes County, which they call Little Switzerland.
Okay.
And so it's kind of this mix of rolling hills between pasture lands and farmlands, croplands and woodlands, forests.
Okay.
And Coshocton County is actually an almost equal blend of those things. It's about half forest and half cropland and farmland, pasture land. And so we happened to encounter these woolly pigs on one of my trips, and I took some pictures and brought them back. Had no idea what it was about, and then at the time showed them to my brother-in-law and his wife, my sister-in-law now, and she was a large animal. She was a vet student, animal veterinary medicine student at Colorado State University in Fort Collins, and Fort Collins is another good beer town.
Sure.
And ended up just finding, we figured out what the breed was, and then realized that we should try to get this. And so we had this opportunity to purchase this farm.
Yeah.
Just over 4 years ago. It's about 4.5 years ago.
Okay.
And so we decided we would jump at the opportunity. We did, and I wasn't sure if I would be, what my status would be. You went to was transitioning through some ownership things, and everything was okay. But in the end, decided that I would part ways and bring the family here, and then we built cleaned up the farm and built the brewery, and with my brother-in-law and his wife. That's my brother-in-law's Aaron Malanky and his wife Lauren Malanky, and it's kind of been our journey. It's cleaning up, basically developing the farm and building the brewery on it, which most people thought we were crazy.
Right.
And
yeah.
It's fine. It's good. But,
which is much like most people think that when you have a dream, but seeing it actually manifest and start to take shape has got to be amazing, right?
It's been great. Yeah.
And so, hold on. If I'm putting this together right, did you bring the woolly pigs here?
We did. So.
They weren't here before.
Just last night, one of our friends, Neil Caldwell, who's a retired veterinary medicine doctor, he volunteers in Pours Beer because he just loves to do it. So he was here, and someone was asking him about the woolly pigs, and he said, well, I had never seen them either.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
And you could talk to folks. Our neighbor raises thousands of hogs a year, and this county is one of the biggest hog centers of the state.
Sure.
And nobody knows of them.
Yeah.
So they're just regaining a very small foothold. But you think it takes time and patience and resources that are a little bit different. So
you've kind of you've introduced them to the area, basically, right?
I guess.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. I wanted to try to capture all that. I mean, it's a real super cool story. I love it, and it's so cool to see it kind of not even open for a year yet, right?
Right. We've been open for a little over about 7.5 months.
Okay. So tell me maybe how, operationally, how does the farm and the brewery kind of coexist as a day-to-day process, I guess?
Sure. Yeah. It's a beginning, and we're hoping to integrate it more and more into the future. But really, it's, for the most part, it's fairly simple.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, we have the brewery, and there's a lot of organic waste, particularly leftover mash, spent grains, spent hops, and trub and yeast, and actually a fair amount of beer as well. Unclarified beer that's left over in the tanks, and beer that's comes out of the taps. The overflow from the taps actually goes into a bucket, and we recover all that.
Yeah.
There's two reasons for that. One is that we are our own wastewater. The only utility we have coming on or off the farm is our electrical power. That's it.
Wow.
So we have our own wastewater processing and everything else, and so we are doing everything we can to minimize that. But it also means that to do that, we have lots of resources to give to our animals, to the hogs, to the pigs, to the woolly pigs, and so they eat a lot of those. They get a lot of calories from that. But they're also pasture, so they get a lot of forage, and so it's a nice blend. It'll be interesting over time to see how that diet, especially the hop component of that, because they actually eat the hoppy tube that's in there.
Oh, wow.
To see how it impacts their meat. But
yeah.
So that's the simple part. But we're also we have a small string of hops where we have 13 different varieties. It was more of an experimental
Is that
field.
over there grown on the vines? Yeah.
And that was to see what was doing well in there. And there's a few varieties which I was really excited about. One particularly was a German Spalter, or German Spalt Select, which is one of the most coveted varieties for brewing in Germany, especially in Bavaria. And so I'm hoping to plant a larger field down with the highway over the next couple of years.
Nice.
So that's the larger plan, we will be hopefully raising some hops.
Sure.
And then potentially also growing some winter barley, and then having it harvested and then sent up to, now there's some great local Ohio malting operations, and have it sent there and brought back. So that's over this kind of like the 5-year plan. I mean,
yeah.
The most important thing was to start off with great beer,
Yep.
and then sort of see what we can integrate from there.
I think you've accomplished that so far from what I've tasted.
Good.
Phenomenal.
Thanks.
So to that point, kind of with how the farm operates, and what other, this is just a brief question in between, but like what other animals do you guys have on the farm?
There's a smattering of few. We have a goat. His name's Hoppy Phils.
Okay.
We have a llama.
Hoppy Phil's the goat.
Whose name is Buckeye.
Oh, all right. All right.
There's a few dozen. I think it's actually. I won't. Don't quote me precisely. Approximately 30 sheep ewes, and
Okay.
right now there's many more than that because they had all their lambs, and so.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
That cycles, and the lambs go to market.
So let me ask you this. One part of your story. Correct me if I'm wrong.
There's 2 horses too.
Oh, nice. Okay. Do they have names? The horses?
Well, one is Duke, who's
Okay.
been here. He's a cross, but he's a halflinger crossed with a pony, so he's very stout. He's like a super draft pony like horse. He's wide.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
trained to pull
Nice.
things.
Okay.
And then there's a new horse that because we share the farm with my brother-in-law and his wife, and they're big. They're horse
They're horse people. Yeah.
So
that's like
so the new horse
terminology.
I'm not even sure exactly. It's only been here for a few weeks, and so the name's still up in the air a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay. Waiting for him to like characterize his name, maybe.
Yeah, there's
Do
been some
something
names,
crazy.
but I won't say them on air right now.
Some names that we're calling them, but hopefully they
Yeah.
don't stick.
Exactly.
Well, what I was going to say is maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but farming isn't a part of your background, was it?
No.
So you launching this is part of like a whole new venture, right? Like the farming.
Yeah, to a certain degree, yeah.
Yeah, has it been challenging?
Well, yeah. I mean,
lot to
so
learn.
my and I need to give lots of credit to my family and my wife's side. So my
Okay.
brother-in-law.
Well, they're
And,
from this area,
and
right?
they take care of all the animals, and the animals
Oh, perfect.
are theirs, and so, and on our side we take care of the brewery, and so we help each other.
Gotcha.
So they help with the brewery, we help with the farm,
Yeah.
and so, but my father-in-law is an amazing I would say almost professional large-scale gardener, so that my wife and my brother-in-law, they grew up having great fresh food all the time from and also they raise lots of animals,
Yeah.
but on a small scale, not on a large commercial scale.
Right.
So they're all very sharp and and great to work with, and very hardworking, and
Absolutely.
I mean, 'cause that's what it takes. It takes a lot of like planning and hard work on the farm. So
Yep.
my father
Yeah.
had a lot of foresight, and with my brother-in-law to start. We had to clear a lot of space just because the farm was overgrown, and so we harvested a lot of trees.
Okay.
We did a lot of logging, and then those trees were, we basically stacked them up, piled them up, then called the logging truck in, had them hauled up, and had them sawn just on the north end of the county near New Bedford, and also had some other neighbors help saw some of the different pieces that were more oddly shaped.
Okay.
Dave Hill, he's got a good little sawmill he can pull around a bit. And anyhow, but we harvested lots of wood. So part of our farming operation is actually, we have about a third of the farm is actually wooded, so we do a lot of logging too.
Nice. Okay.
And I guess that hails to my Northwest heritage. My dad's, his pastime now is to repair and collect chainsaws. So
Okay, cool.
it's my grandfather used to run logging camps. And
Nice.
That's it kind of
Interesting. Kind of like where
that's my dad's
Wolverine,
side.
where you would hang out, like
Yeah.
from those movies.
Exactly.
No, so it's very communal feel from what I'm gathering, like from the family and people that help around, and
Yeah.
just the area in general, which is kind of hits on a question that I do have, like what type of, I mean, it kind of goes to, and from what I looked at, the research I did, it said Fresno has the census poll in 2010 was 140 people. Is that is that correct? Like,
Which is the crazy thing. I think that is correct. I mean, it's hard to say.
right.
But Fresno is actually a zip code, 43824, and it's don't quote me, but it's very close to about 100 square miles.
Oh, wow.
It's about 10 miles north to south and almost 10 miles east to west.
Okay.
And so I feel like there's more people than that there, but there may not be.
Yeah.
I can't say for certain. I feel like there's more people in our township, which is part of that. So I think there's more folks than that around, but yeah, it'd be in the hundreds. Yeah.
So how does that? So one of the things that we're big on with the hop and the bean is specialty coffee and craft beers. Like those, usually the type of person that likes those things likes them both, and so it's kind of the same community, connecting the same people that like good coffee and good beer.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, what type of community do you see that's been kind of developing here at the brewery and the farm from your visitors and?
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's an interesting. I sat long and hard, and it was, I have a small business administration loan, and basically I had to like approach a few bankers back. Well, they're like, well, who's gonna be drinking your beer? And you're
Right.
like, well, and I told them, I said, everybody will be, and they're like, you're crazy. And I said, well, no. They said, you need to. And I said, well, that's fine. But I'm serious. We have people, everyone from 21-year-olds all the way up to 91-year-olds, male, female, from the local area, from urban areas, farther away.
Yeah.
And we have tourists, and we always have all these different people from. So we have a tremendous mix. Our beer drinkers are everybody. And it really is.
Yeah.
It's not everybody because we're small. Because
right.
There's not enough for everybody, literally. But we don't have. It's not like a 27-year-old
and that's what
male
I'm seeing.
that grew up in like Columbus that like is an IT person. It's
right.
It's just that that's one of our beer drinkers. But we don't.
Sure.
So I don't know if you saw when you first got here. There's a woman. Her name is Rennie, and she actually grew up in Germany. And she's in her 70s, and she comes here to drink beer.
Nice.
And she gave me a hug when she's leaving because she's one of our great friends and great patrons. And so
right, yeah.
No, it's diverse, and it's great because you have that across the board regularly. It doesn't. It's just. So, which is great.
Yeah, and that's why I asked the question, because I was like, man, I wonder, because seeing that stat about the census and then coming here, knowing about like just what I thought about when I saw it, and I'm like, man, like as I sit here right now, what do you call this area right now that we're sitting in?
This is just our beer garden.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like so, the beer garden. It's what is it? Thursday night. It's pretty hopping right now. There's a lot of people, and it's that diverse demographic that you were just explaining that as I look around right now, just kind of for our podcast.
Yeah, we have farmers, bankers, professionals, pile drivers. We have everybody, and it's great.
Super cool. I love it. Yeah. So for you, has that influenced the how you look to brew your beers and the experience that you intended when you created the Woolly Pig Farm Brewery, but as you see it, because some of these places will take on their own personality, right? And so
absolutely.
How's that, as the owner and the brewer, like how do you see that
for
what you want to do?
I see it for two parts. So from the beer side, I really wanted to present German, Bavarian beers, lagers to the public at large, and so and as well as a few Americanized German sour beers, and so we still are doing that.
I think Nikki was drinking a sour goes.
Yeah, cranberry, ginger, and hibiscus.
Oh,
Yeah.
how was it?
So good.
She said
And that's funny, 'cause
delicious.
Best sour I've ever had.
One of the best sours she's ever had.
Well,
she says.
it pours like a bright pink, and it's we get a lot of wine drinkers come through, and so it's something, and it's not overly fruity or sweet, but folks may think it is, which
Right.
helps. I mean, there's all the, being able to drink beer in this climate, this environment, this setting makes
Yeah.
the beer taste better. I mean, I
Yeah.
won't lie, it does. And,
Oh yeah.
and so it helps.
Yeah, it's
But-
more open, and you just feel like drinking that beer. It's just it's pretty hot and humid, like we were talking before.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, it just went down so smooth.
Well, I'm
and-
glad to hear that.
and I don't feel like bloated or anything. It's very crisp and clean.
So the beer was, we haven't changed the beer so much. It's like we do a few things, but the beer plan has basically stayed the same because
Yeah.
these are beers that we brew to be drinkable and enjoyed, to be flavorful but not aggressive, and to be
Yep.
enjoyed again and again. So we want people to be able to enjoy drinking beer. It's
Yep.
not about tasting beer; it's about drinking beer, but responsibly. Like,
Sure.
like you
Yeah.
said.
Not.
Like,
Yeah. No, I get what
and-
you're saying. It's
yeah.
not like this crazy, like in your face, like, oh my gosh, I need to like sip that super slowly. But
Right.
I could sit back and drink a couple of those
Yeah.
and be fine because
Yeah,
it's not.
and again, they're not.
crazy ABV.
Yeah, they're not high alcohol beers. No,
Yeah.
they're not double anything or whatever.
Right.
And those are great beers. They're a great place. But
I
then
don't
on the
think it
other side,
compromises the flavor either, which
I'm
is
glad.
you do
Yeah.
a good job with that.
but we also, so the community influencing us was,
Yeah.
we did not expect to have this strong of support, especially from the local community. It's
Sure.
we opened in the middle of December,
Yeah.
which was just before Christmas. So I mean, you get a few things going on there, but through winter, through all the dark and the cold, and it was a long winter. It didn't warm up for a long time.
Yeah.
We by mid February, we were like, we've got to build a space outside.
Yeah.
And so by March 16th, we had this built. This wasn't here, this pavilion, and so we built it over the beer garden so that we had this space. Like we had a couple tables and all this limestone patio, but we didn't have a way to like protect people, and so
Sure, yeah.
we got up
beautiful.
by March 16th, just before St. Patrick's Day, and then ever since then it's been loaded inside and outside, and so it's been
That's awesome.
It's been great, and so
That's so awesome.
we're gonna. The thing is that it's just been fantastic to have so much local support. So what it has done is we were gonna focus more on distributing beer farther
Right.
to try to get people to come here because we felt like it was a great place to come and drink beer.
Right.
And so we just want to get good beer out there and have people drink it and be like, oh, and that seems like a cool place. We should go there.
Yeah.
But since we opened, it's been people have just been coming and drinking beer, which is great. That's what we want.
Absolutely.
And so I'm a production brewer, and so that's not in my DNA so much to just say, hey, let's focus on site
So you're like, wait a minute, there's
tasting
people
beer.
coming and they're not
we
stopping.
said,
They're not stopping.
And so for me, it's actually been fantastic because I basically took a few steps back and said, all right, I'm going to focus on just the quality of service
What's
and beer
happening
just here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we're not even distributing. We bottle our beer, but we don't even sell it off-site.
Right. Yeah.
We hope to at some point, but it's just that our capacity on site is such that we're there. And so this winter we're going to work on expanding that.
Sure.
Excuse me. But
That's all. That's
so it's been fantastic to have
that's
so
awesome.
much support locally and through the even the greater region, I guess. So it's been fantastic. It's been, I can't say enough about how grateful and how fantastic it's been. So
Yeah, I love that. It's almost like that's kind of like they call like the Wave 3 brew pubs that focus less on distribution and more on the brew pub.
sure am.
And you've almost accomplished that without trying to do it. You've created such a unique brew pub and such a unique brewery that people are coming here and wanting to do that anyways. And so, like you just said, you're like, wait a minute, let's just focus on what's happening here. And I love it.
I'm glad. I mean,
and I would
basically-
encourage anyone to do that. I mean, you have to experience it. I hope that we're doing it justice by capturing, but it's like it is. I don't even feel like I'm in Ohio. It's just like a beer garden set. Like,
Well, and I want to mention one thing about
Yeah.
Germany, Bavaria is that when I would come back from traveling with pictures and show them to my wife and my family and stuff, and they'd just be like, "Oh, this looks just like Coshocton." And like it does.
That's crazy.
And I always was sad because it was like there wasn't a single brewery in this. There's like this big void. I mean, you can see, look at the map of Ohio, and there's like this giant void with Coshocton in the middle.
Yeah.
And then we said, well, I felt like, well, I mean, there's and the irony of it is that the region in Germany that looks like this is Oberfranken, which at one time recently had over 300 breweries and now has probably about 260 breweries.
Okay.
And it's about the size. It's probably about 3 or 4 times the size of Coshocton County.
Interesting.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And there's not. It's not like it's big cities or anything. It's all rural, and it's the highest concentration of breweries anywhere in the world. That might be changing with like certain things happening, like nano breweries in like San Diego and and around.
Yeah.
There's lots of great places.
Craft
great
beer
beer,
explosion.
But I mean, the traditional like production breweries, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's super interesting. So we do this thing called the last call, where I've gone to different breweries and coffee places, and I try to tailor it a little bit for the establishment of 5 random questions. I've done a Woolly Pig edition, but before we get into that, Nikki, do we have any questions from our online audience that are shooting at us? Not right now. Cool. So before we get into the last call, maybe give us the 50,000-foot view of the Woolly Pig Farm Brewery, what you want people to know that are like, what is that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to avoid sounding cheesy or simplistic, but I mean, really, we're trying to basically have great tasting beer that everyone enjoys drinking in a great environment. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of the fundamentals of it, if you would, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, even like,
and I guess, I mean, this isn't our intention, but it's being authentic. I mean, my background is nothing but brewing and just making beer. We're on the farm. We're going to be trying to utilize as much of that as resource as possible. We have these great animals that produce these phenomenal cuts of meat, and then we've got a beautiful area. We've got this fantastic, historic, beautiful barn and some other structures. And it's the canal used to just run. The Erie Canal used to run just down at the bottom of the hill here.
Okay.
There's a lot of history, and we just want people to come and sit down and enjoy it and embrace and just breathe in that I guess the realness of what is. It's simple. It's just drinking beer and looking around. And
I think I'm going to come back here during the fall because I would love to see it during like the fall, a little bit cooler out, and just like I bet it's beautiful. You made me think. Oh yeah, so I didn't ask you this. I want to ask you this too. So do you offer food also?
Well, we don't right now. What we do is on Fridays and Saturdays we have food trucks that come in from all over. And that's been fantastic. Last week we had Park Street Pizza from Sugar Creek area, and they're a fantastic. I don't know if you've ever had them or know of them, but they're amazing. And they actually have a food truck. It's called Baylor, spelled Bahler.
Okay.
And their pizza is. I mean, it's as good as anything you could ever have anywhere. And they are very selective on their wood, and it's all wood fire. They've got this beautiful.
You will get some before you leave.
Yeah, you should. It's a fantastic thing. But so they were here, and it was our second busiest day of the year. It was phenomenal. It was great. Great food, great. So we get a lot of great food coming in like that, right?
Okay.
And it overwhelmed them. They said, these are people that are great professional food, and they were at their limit. And so it's been fun to have these great restaurants bring in their great food trucks and to just have a great beer and food experience. We will be having some beer dinners.
Okay.
Around Oktoberfest, we'll actually be having our Mangalitsa sausages.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
So we'll let people know, and then we may even do a few hog roasts or something.
Okay. What about Woolly Pig bacon?
Yeah, no, that'll start happening. And so Is it
good?
It's phenomenal.
Okay.
That's because these are the breed is a fat.
Right.
They have a lot more fat content.
Yeah.
And they have good marbling, so it's all around. And they're the fat is.
You let me know when that happens because I want to try.
We'll let everybody know.
I want to try some woolly pig bacon.
And I would love to eventually see
exclusive.
us having, if we could at the very least have kind of like bacon and beer pairings.
Absolutely.
Regularly available. But
you let me know when.
Yeah,
we're in.
So we
Bacon and beer,
only, we only just
wow.
recently started having them come of age, if you will. So
Okay, gotcha.
It took us about 3.5, 4 years to get there. So.
Sure, yeah. All right, so getting into the last call. Some of these I think we already touched on a little bit, but like I said, last call is 5 kind of random questions. Sometimes a little bit weird, sometimes a little bit
That's fine.
out there. But so, number 1, do any of the woolly pigs have names, and if so, what are they?
Yes, we only had name a few because, well, we don't want to get too attached. If you know what, catch my drift.
I got
so
you.
our boar, which you might be able to see behind us, is the large. He probably weighs about 600 pounds now.
Oh wow.
His name is Herr Fugel,
600 pounds?
but Herr.
Wait, what's his name?
Herr Fugel. But Herr is spelled Her, like that's like Mr. Aufdeutsch in German.
Okay.
But it's a pun because he's hairy.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, I love it.
And then Fugel is a hop variety, but it's an English hop variety, so it's crossed.
I want a hair Fugel shirt. A shirt.
Yeah, that
It's
would be
like
good.
hair
That would be
Fugel.
good. We should work on that.
know, that's
there should be a
amazing.
giant hairy pig on there.
Yeah. Okay.
But he's probably our nicest, most gentle animal.
We're
which
gonna
is
go
great.
check him out later.
Yeah, I hope so. And then the sows that we're breeding are Willamette and Galena,
Okay.
and those are the only 3 we named. We had another sow that we were breeding that wasn't very successful, and that was Nugget, who no longer is with us. So they're all named after
R.I.P.
hop
Nugget.
varieties. They're all named after hop varieties.
Gotcha. Okay. So this is a little bit tie into the hop and the bean theme. I don't even know what this answer is or what this question really means, but what would a woolly pig farm coffee shop look or taste like?
Oh, well, I guess I can pose a question to you.
Okay.
If we had cold brew nitro coffee here,
Yeah.
just one tap,
Yeah.
would that count?
Yeah, absolutely.
It would look like that.
Yeah, that's perfect. Are you thinking about doing that?
I'm building it right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
But it's not for. I mean, it's just.
A nitro tap.
Yeah, and we make a coffee beer. We have a coffee pills.
Okay.
Which
Oh, really?
you should try. It looks just
You have it
like
on
a
tap
regular
now?
pills. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll definitely try it. Absolutely.
It's a very delicate. It's a very delicate coffee beer, which is nice. It's fun. It's not
Yeah.
like blow up in your face or anything. So.
Right. Absolutely. Awesome. That's a great answer. So, do you or anyone that you know of have they ever harvested woolly pig hair and used it?
We have not. My daughter has a small bird nest that she found that's lined with woolly pig hair, so that would be a local bird. Small bird. It's a very small nest.
Okay.
Maybe a wren.
Yeah.
But
Like woolly pig farm.
and I actually watched it
beans.
rain on it the other day, and all the water beat it up off of it. It's pretty nice.
Interesting.
But down that, there are folks that like to use hair. We've sent it to some folks who tie fly fishing flies.
Okay.
Because the hair is very buoyant and it floats well, and then also in particular types of flies that you pull them across the water, it creates a very turbulent, bubbly pattern. So it's a very attracting type of. So there's some applications, but
Okay.
But no, we haven't. There is not harvest. There's not shearing of pigs.
Right. That's kind of my question. Yeah.
We have sheep, and they get sheared, and we
Sure.
help with the shearing of them. And sheep are been
It's a
bred.
legit question, right?
Sheep have been bred to be docile. You get them on the rump, and they just sit there, and you just shave them. It's not a big deal. But if you try to get a pig off its feet, it doesn't sit still, and it has
Right.
tusks, and it's a
Gotcha.
whole different ballgame.
yeah.
The only way to deal with it is to basically forage the hair that's fallen off of them, sneak up and steal some real quick, or to anesthetize them and then
Yeah.
shave them when they're knocked out,
Right. Yeah.
or feed them a bunch of beer, which is kind of.
Exactly. So it leads to my next question. You can move on as quickly as you like from this one, but have you ever known of or have you ever braided woolly pig hair?
No, but I maybe that would be a good event for Oktoberfest. I don't know.
Right? Yeah. There we go.
Consider it.
Yeah. Okay. And so lastly, I have to ask this question, and we kind of touched on it also already. I saw the pictures. Do the woolly pigs like the beer?
They like the beer very much. We feed them beer regularly. We try not to feed them too much at once. It's maybe happened before, but we have lots of, and it's just waste that we're diverting from going to the to our wastewater treatment. So
Right.
yeah, it can if we give them too much. We try not to. We try to give them a reasonable and responsible
Woolly
quantity.
pigs become wobbly pigs.
Yeah. They sleep.
Yeah. Oh, my son's about to enter the show right now.
Oh, good.
Zeke, live on the Hop and the Bean. We have Zeke, his first appearance.
Excellent.
Zeke Andrews.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
So thank you so much for having
Pleasure,
us
yeah.
and
Thanks
for
for
coming on. I'll just close this out really quick as we can see, craft beer is continuing to expand the limits of expectations set for itself, both geographically and creatively. So in just Ohio alone, we are witnessing exponential growth in both craft beer and specialty coffee. And like we said at the beginning, the Hop and the Bean is a community connected by its passion and people. One where timeless tradition meets innovative expansion. Whether it's downtown developing my palate through the nuances of a coffee bean, or sipping suds next to a woolly, and I'll sign. So I think we lost a little bit of connectivity, but just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching and listening.